Hi, Patrick. How are you?
Hi, I'm hanging in there. How you doing, Ranjeet?
Wonderful, wonderful. Thanks for catching up today on a
Yeah,
Saturday morning. So wonderful.
yeah.
So what do you have
Never,
today, Patrick?
never
What's
too
the
bad.
question?
Yeah. We got a featured question here. How can petitioners effectively demonstrate that their entry to the United States will substantially benefit the country, particularly when the nature of their work is not directly tied to quantifiable economic contributions?
I love this question because I always say that it's not the criteria that help you aim you towards EB1A, but it's actually about what you contribute to the USA. Actually, and I always further say that when you're applying for EB1A, it's akin to saying that to the man in the White House that look, I'm so and so, and this is my expertise, and this is how I benefit the US. And so I love this question. Now, I think everything is not necessarily tied up to business. Let's understand, because economic benefit comes in when you are connected to the various other fields as well. For example, I mean, let's take it. It's called an Einstein visa, Patrick. Okay. Now, Einstein would never have any economic benefit per se, but the greatest mind in history. We're talking. The whole visa is named after him as an Einstein visa. So sorry. So it is not about your economic benefit. That how big expert are you and what contributions to the field that you are making. So it could be, you could be a physicist, you could be a nuclear physicist, you could be a rocket scientist, you could be a lot other in that field. So first is that what is the demonstrated impact and what's your expertise. First is what is your expertise and what's your demonstrated impact. Your let us say, for example, if somebody were an expert in AI in way back in 2015 or 16 or 17, before the chat GPT and all the AI tools have taken over, still that person may not be able to kind of come forward and speak about it. The whole purpose of this visa, Patrick, is EB1A green card is that is not necessarily the economic benefit to the US, but for USA to maintain a dominion or a privileged status or a status of being hub of all knowledge. Let's also understand it, and that's the reason that is the purpose of this visa. So this can be manifested by purpose of your scientific and technological advancement, how many patents and innovations that you have done, how many awards that you have done. You could have been invited to reputed institutions, universities for invitation to speak. You would have coaching and mentoring. For example, a professor in a good university, if he's applying for EB1A, you don't necessarily have economic benefits, but you are creating a new breed of professionals. What are your public and community contributions? These are some of the aspects, and this you can prove by expert opinions and testimonials. There are some metrics for non kind of a business contributions, non-economic contributions. It could be your impact factor of your journals, citations that you have done, how much intellectual property you have done, what has been the influence of your leadership, what is your public engagement. So these are some of the things that are going to possibly help you. I hope that makes clear, Patrick.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes it a lot more clear. There's a lot that you can impact beyond the economic aspect. So anonymous member asks, do the recommendations in EB1A actually matter, or just your profile which matters? How many recommendations are sufficient? I'm planning to file EB1A but don't have strong recommendations. The senior professors or scientists under whom I worked have been retired now. Thanks.
Wonderful. Patrick, as we answer this question, we have a guest on the show here. I think
Great.
so. We have someone called Navi. And Navi, if you are listening to this, we will have you after I respond to this question. So just be at a standby, be where you are, and we'll get you in the room to ask so that you can ask your question. Now, let's understand, Patrick. I mean, coming back to your question, do the recommendation actually matter or not? I mean, let's also understand they do make a difference. I mean, whether they matter or not is not the right way to ask the question. Do them okay? Now, normally the evidence should speak for itself. If you have done something, unique, something, okay. Now, these recommendation letter, according to even the USCS sites, are a cornerstone for your success. Okay, that's number one. Number two is you are saying, this gentleman is saying that the senior professors and the scientists under whom I work got retired. That's absolutely fine, but they can still give you a letter if possible. Because even if they can always say that, let's say it's about Patrick. So, I have been a scientist for over 20 years and I retired last year. And based on this, my working with Patrick, blah, 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 there is some lot of narrative that can happen. The position does not matter, but the locus matters. There's a difference between what's your position at the given moment and what is your locus. That are you qualified based on certain expertise to do? I mean, just giving some letter is not important. What is the content of the letter is important. So from that perspective, I'm yet to see a single petition where there are no recommendation letters. And expert opinions, depending on what you are trying to see, they could potentially be independent. It looks to me that you are from an academic field, and based on that, I think this question is coming. So I would say that yes, they are important. You should try to get them, no matter, even if they are kind of retired, it would still make a difference actually in your petition. And as I said, I have not seen a single petition without any single recommendation letter.
Right.
So Patrick, I hope that answers this as far as this question is concerned.
I think it should. Yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful. So we'll get. I am not able to get Navi. The person is trying to get in, but I think he has not connected his. He has not connected his kind of device properly, actually. So Navi, if you are listening to this, please, I'm just, kind of log off and log in again. Maybe that will help. And just try again. I'm just so you can come back later. So.
All right. So for the moment, I'll ask another question then for the time being.
Absolutely.
So anonymous member asks, for peer review, do you need to provide the certificates for the research work you reviewed, or do you need to show the email communication as well?
Well, that's a wonderful question. I would always suggest to give as many evidences as possible. The evidence standard used is more likely than not, so it's always good to kind of give more is always better in case of EB1A. Actually, I would say that if it is relevant and if it is connected to your purpose. So
right.
Yes, you should not only give certificate, but if there is an email communication, because that also shows a trail on what basis you were there, the professionalism of the organization. So it will definitely prove something. It will not go waste. So I would always suggest that please go for this. Yes.
Gotcha. Great. Good to know. So then anonymous member asks, how is high salary criteria determined? Is it just base or base plus bonus plus RSU? Does it vary with location?
It's another one of my favorite questions, Patrick. High salary determined. It's not, the criteria is called high salary, but let's understand what is being determined is not your salary, but what is the value of your expertise. So, hypothetically, you may be drawing only $1 salary, but everything is given to you as a stock. I would still, it's a matter of your compensation that is commanded by virtue of your expertise. So I would always suggest to use optimum and all of them actually. That essentially proves that the idea is not trying to be proven here that, Patrick is getting a high salary. The idea is you look at from a perspective that what is the value of your expertise that someone is willing to pay. And of course, there is another metric we always try to suggest, which can be manifested for the purpose of critical role also here. That Infosys a couple of years back has been using, in fact, something called as a human resource value. So basically, that says that okay, fine. If let's say Patrick is working with Next League Executive Board LLC, what is Patrick's value to the Next League? So there are certain economic methods which have been approved by Accounting Standards Board also, and international, I think IFRS standards. They come under International Financial Reporting Standards. They have been approved by them, and they are put up in a balance sheet as an asset value of an individual to the company. Because that also is another, I think there are various models. One can use various models depending on the company, but the company has to say this. So if Patrick is applying for EB1A, the company will have to say that, look, Patrick is valued as 3 million, 5 million to us. And using that metric is also a beautiful way to kind of demonstrate a metric, your critical role. So how a salary and a critical role can be connected together is another angle that can, and we have seen that working actually. So that's another aspect we always tell our students. So this is a very good question. So look at when you talk about salary, look at the total compensation as a whole. Wonderful.
Got it. And does it vary from location to location or regionally?
Yes, because the whole idea is to compare your compensation with other similar peers. And that's what, Patrick, we have seen various LinkedIn posts and a couple of other folks have been talking about it, that we have seen in the program, we are aware somebody getting 150K going through EB1A, while somebody even getting $2 million salary has not got it. It has actually nothing to do with your compensation that you're drawing, but how you connect the evidences to place on record that your compensation is because of your expertise. So if you are able to do that, and also in the connection to with your peers. So if you are in a part, location is one part, age is second part, so those all the things have to be put together. So not the quantum does not matter, but the how you establish your evidences would matter. I hope that answers the question, and thanks for reminding about the location. Yes, it does make a difference. Wonderful.
Yeah, well, I was wondering myself. I always am trying to figure that out. But yeah, that's good to know. Always good to know. So anonymous member asks, does IEEE senior membership, CISSP, CISA, PMP membership all together count for EB1A? If not, what else in cybersecurity field would matter?
Well, there are specific membership organizations. I think we'll have to do a little research on that. I don't have an answer to specific in cybersecurity. But I want to take a step back here, Patrick. I mean, many people have been asking about these membership. I always say that, and I've been saying this, that the criteria are more of a levers to prove your expertise and benefit to the US. Let me give you an illustration. And I think that this is a simple illustration. You see, a couple of, I think, days back, one of the, president's, kind of a presidential candidate made a statement that if he were to be chosen as a president, he might like to make cryptocurrency as part of a mainstream, currency or money. Let's say that. Okay. Now let's look at it from a perspective. This is an example only for illustration. Now this gentleman, let us say, becomes a president. He comes out with some policy for cryptocurrency. And let us say if one is expert in cryptocurrencies or a blockchain technology, who is applying for EB1. Now, and one is really an expert in a sense that one has been working with certain agencies that work on this particular technology, has a deep and incisive understanding about cryptocurrency or blockchain technology. Now, if that person proves that how his work is going to be beneficial to the USA, that's the first and foremost thing, and gives evidences for that. In a sense that he might have done some white papers, he must have made a presentation, he might be a teacher. At this particular point of time, I want to believe, and I can say very confidently that, I'm in IEEE senior membership, I'm in CISA, I'm in PMP, I'm just naming this up. I mean, these would not matter. Okay, you are fulfilling the metric, but what you have done there, you wrote some 3 papers on cryptocurrency with IEEE, that might sail through. You have got to write recommendation letters that you are an expert in how you will benefit the United States based on the presidential policy, if in future it is there. As I said, this is just an hypothetical question, hypothetical situation. Now, don't try to fit yourself into the criteria. Be an expert where US can benefit, and we have seen that happening. We have seen 28-year-old gentleman getting through because he was one of the very strong proponents of artificial intelligence and data science. We have seen that happening. So your age does not matter, your qualification does not matter, but what matters is how your presence is going to be beneficial to the United States. So keep up the good work, guys. I mean, this is not something that you should be kind of focusing on. Focus on your expertise, focus on how it is beneficial to the United States rather than trying to fit into your criteria. So that's another wonderful thing. And let's take a last question for the day, Patrick.
Sounds good. Anonymous member asks, what proofs do we need to provide for reviewing the manuscript / research papers? I have appreciation reviewing certificates, but I'm not able to find the invitation emails. I think this might be a little similar to what we talked about earlier.
Absolutely. No, I would still say that try to get it. What when you kind of reviewed it, show the actual work that you did, what value you did it. Um, if you can, I mean, I would not go too far, but if you can, try to get some kind of a expert opinion on the quality of the work that you had judged. This is essentially fall into a judging criteria. If you do that, I think that will be very helpful actually. So you need to provide a quantum of, rather than just saying that, oh, I did a certificate. No, that won't be sufficient. You see, many people believe that touching the criteria is helping them to meet the criteria,
Right.
but that is never the case. I mean, the idea is not you to meet just touching. It's like touching the water. Just dipping your feet into the water. There's this water out there, and you just dip. No, you have to go inside. You have to do not snorkeling, but actually a deep dive scuba diving, inside the criteria, and then demonstrate your expertise out there, what is emerging out. If
Sure.
you had not done the work, then what happens? So, these are the kind of things I would say. So give as many evidences as you can to speak about it, actually. So if you
Excellent.
can, try to get even the letters from the establishment. So that's what I would say, Patrick. So guys, that was the end of the today's session. So that's wonderful. So if you have any questions, come to us. We could not have the gentleman today on the show, but hopefully we look forward to see you next time. And if you want to join the program, please click the link below. That would be wonderful, actually. So wish you all the best, and thank you very much, Patrick, for having me.
Yep. Glad to be here.